My name is Melissa, and I have lived most of my adult life believing that marriage was built on trust, compromise, and the little sacrifices couples make for each other. I married Daniel when I was 25, and for nearly 2 decades we built a life that, from the outside, looked picture perfect. We had a beautiful home in a quiet American neighborhood. We shared vacations to places I had only dreamed about as a child, and we raised our children with the kind of discipline and kindness I had always admired in my own parents. Life seemed steady, predictable, and good. But sometimes, what seems steady hides cracks that are invisible until one day everything shatters with a single moment. The story I am about to share is not easy for me to tell. It is one of betrayal, awkwardness, and the kind of pain that reshapes how you see the people closest to you. It began on a summer weekend, when my sister's son, Jason, came to stay with us for a few weeks. Jason was 22, polite, and always respectful whenever he visited. My sister trusted me with him like she always had, and I welcomed him because having family around made our home livelier. But I never imagined that his presence would expose something about my marriage that I had been blind to for years. On that particular Saturday morning, the house was unusually quiet. Daniel had gone out early to run errands, and our kids were away on a summer camp trip, leaving me alone in the house with Jason. I remember humming softly as I prepared to take a shower. It was the kind of slow, lazy morning where you don't rush, where you let the warm water wash away the week's exhaustion. I closed the bathroom door behind me, certain that no one would disturb me. But then, something happened that shifted the balance of my world. As I stood under the stream of hot water, I suddenly heard the door creak open. My heart jumped, and I quickly pulled the shower curtain closer to shield myself. Before I could even call out, Jason's voice filled the space. "Oh my God, I'm sorry," he blurted out, clearly as shocked as I was. He hadn't expected me to be in there. I saw the outline of him freeze for a second before he scrambled back and closed the door, his footsteps echoing down the hall as he muttered apologies under his breath. For a moment, I stood frozen. My mind raced between embarrassment and disbelief. Accidents happen, I told myself. He must not have realized. But the truth is, that moment of intrusion, as brief and unintentional as it was, opened a door I had long kept shut. Because as I stepped out of the shower and wrapped a towel around myself, I noticed something else: Daniel's phone buzzing on the counter near the sink. He must have left it behind in his rush to get out. At first, I wasn't going to touch it. I had never been the type of wife to snoop. But the buzzing didn't stop, and curiosity pushed me past my hesitation. I picked it up, only to see a name I didn't recognize flash across the screen, with a message that made my stomach twist. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." My hands trembled. My husband of almost 20 years had left behind a trail of words that screamed betrayal. I tried to calm myself, telling myself there had to be an explanation, maybe a misunderstanding, maybe a work thing. But as I scrolled, message after message painted a picture too clear to ignore. Photos, words of intimacy, promises he had never even whispered to me in years. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might collapse right there on the bathroom floor. Jason must have heard me gasp because a few minutes later, he gently knocked on the door. "Melissa, are you okay? I'm really sorry about before." I didn't mean to. His voice was nervous, apologetic, and genuine. But I couldn't even focus on what he was saying. My world had just been ripped apart, not by his accidental intrusion, but by what I had just discovered in the palm of my hand. I opened the door, my eyes wet with tears I hadn't realized were falling. Jason looked startled to see me like that. He asked if I was hurt, if something had happened. I shook my head, unable to form words at first. Finally, I whispered, "It's not you, Jason. It's Daniel. He's been lying to me." His face softened with sympathy, and he stepped back respectfully to give me space. In that moment, the awkwardness of what had happened earlier faded, overshadowed by the weight of betrayal that hung in the air like a storm cloud. For the rest of the day, I moved like a ghost through the house. Jason tried to stay out of my way, but I could tell he was worried. When Daniel finally returned home, I confronted him. My voice shook as I asked him about the messages, the late nights he had claimed were for work, the unexplained trips. At first, he denied it, his face hardening defensively. But when I showed him the messages, his shoulders slumped. He admitted everything. He had been seeing someone else for months. I cannot fully explain the pain that surged through me in that moment. It felt like the ground beneath my feet had disappeared. All the years, all the memories, the promises we had made, it all seemed to crumble into dust. Daniel tried to excuse himself, to say it wasn't serious, that it didn't mean he didn't love me. But how could I believe him, standing there with the proof in my hands? Over the next weeks, our marriage unraveled. Jason eventually returned home, but not before telling me quietly that he admired how strong I was for confronting the truth. He didn't realize it, but his accidental walk-in had led me to the discovery that changed my life. Had it not been for that moment, Daniel's secrets might have stayed hidden even longer. I spent many sleepless nights afterward thinking about what love really means, what trust really costs, and how easily life can change in a single moment. The pain of betrayal doesn't fade quickly, but with time, I found a strange kind of gratitude. Not for the betrayal, of course, but for the clarity it gave me. It showed me who Daniel truly was, and it gave me the strength to walk away from a marriage that had already ended long before I discovered the truth. This is not a story I share lightly. It is deeply personal, and it carries scars that still ache when I think about them. But I tell it because I know there are others out there who may be ignoring the quiet signs in their own relationships, brushing aside their instincts, or clinging to a facade of happiness while cracks form underneath. My story is a reminder that sometimes the truth comes to us in the most unexpected ways, and though it may break us at first, it can also set us free.